Live radio, local podcasts, the Frederick Podcast Network at listenfrederick.com.
The tampering period has begun, but March 12th, fellas, March 12th is the actual date or the magical day for the 2024 free agents in the NFL. We got a lot to talk about already today. This is kind of a special show, to be quite honest with you. Sheen gave us that little nudge, huh, Chops?
Yeah, man. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so, our thoughts on who was acquired thus far, who some targets might still be, what it's going to mean for the draft thus far. I mean, it's all early. More's going to happen. Let's get after this. All right, Shane, you hit it. Hit us off here.
Man, look at it.
What am I hitting you with?
What are you?
First question.
Are you kidding me?
I'm sorry.
I thought you quit doing gummies.
Has Garrett's contract raised the price on Watts? What do you guys think about that? Him and Max Crosby.
Hold on. We are talking about Garrett. Fields is gone. We signed DK. We got bigger picture. Who cares about the clowns in Cleveland? Who cares?
We'll circle back to that. All right, Chops? Because it is a speaking point. It's going to be a speaking point. There's no question about it.
It will. But here's my thing. What is bigger? What are you more excited about? Signing DK and what it could be at that receiver position, or the potential of who the quarterback is going to be? Because now Fields is gone. Fields is in New York. Let
me ask you a question. This is a serious question, guys. Serious freaking question. Did you really have faith that Fields is going to be the savior? Like, did you really think that, this guy was going to come in and like all of a sudden it was going to be miraculous? I get the carpet was pulled out from underneath him at 4-2, but did you really think that all of a sudden he's going to flip the script? He got overpaid with the Jets. He got 2 years, $40 million. $30 million of it is a signing bonus, it was a signing bonus. So he got grossly overpaid, just like Dan Moore Jr. got extremely grossly overpaid. But back to Fields.
He's a left tackle. So
it does.
You got to pay the left tackle.
I don't care what you say. My thoughts on Fields. Fields got grossly overpaid. We were grasping for straws because we brought him in. He's a young buck. He can run the ball. Okay, but you proved something by bringing DK Metcalf in. You brought in a thoroughbred, guys. You didn't bring in some Darius Slayton, who's not a thoroughbred. He's a decent receiver. He's a pretty good receiver. He's not a thoroughbred though. And keep in mind, DK Metcalf is only 27 years old. Mm-hmm. Chops, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got you.
Hear me now. Okay. You're absolutely right. He is 27. You know me, I'm still suspect on the O-line. Not because of what the talent level is, because they're still
Chops, we're talking about DK Metcalf. We're not talking about the O-line.
Hold on. But we've seen you can have the greatest one position, but if it all doesn't tie in, so right now, if we get a great quarterback, but he still doesn't have time, I like DK. I really do. But Mark, to go back what you said, no, I didn't think Fields was the savior, but the way we've seen these other cats go to other teams and get worked and used properly, whether it's Baker Mayfield, whether it's Darnold, and now getting money, maybe they just think they can use your boy Fields properly. I'm worried about what you now have DK Metcalf. Our O coordinator is not known for his passing game. So now you have a round hole for a square peg. We love DK. How does he fit in the money they're paying him? That's what I'm worried on. How does he fit in?
Who does DK Metcalf compare to in the NFL right now?
Himself.
Because he's a big body. He can do everything. Man, I don't even know more. Who would you? Because he's big, Brown? He's strong, he's fast.
Oh, bigger than AJ Brown. He's way. You see the picture of them next to each other in college?
Yeah, but I can feel where Mark's going with that AJ Brown. I can feel where he's going with that.
Oh, but my thing, Mark, here's the thing, Chops. Like you keep mentioning the quarterbacks and the linemen. Aaron Rodgers was getting that ball out. I think he was number 3, if I'm not mistaken, quickest. Russell Wilson's like 28th, and Fields was like 30th. So when you're getting that ball out, Chops, we don't care about what else is going on. If he's doing the proper reads, he knows where he's going. That's the thing I like about Aaron Rodgers. He can make all the throws, and he can make all the reads.
Okay, going into last season, it was said in the last 2 seasons, only thing the Jets need is a QB. So we've been taking off Aaron Rodgers. Everybody looked at the Jets O-line and the Jets weapons better as a better unit than the Steelers. And the reason your boy was getting the ball out so fast, because either his receivers were getting the quick separation or they were open. So all that is fitting to change, because we already said the Jets only needed one spot at the quarterback position. My biggest thing is I've always liked DK. He's a beast. He really is. Now, Mark hit on something with Brown. Damn. But Brown is great for that offense because the way they're used. If you do bring in Rodgers like you want, Rodgers, as you said in our side text, can make all the throws, can do whatever he wants.
All the reads.
Since he's had Ben, and your boy Tomlin has been able to bring in whomever he wants, nobody's done that. So do you think he's going to give Rodgers? I didn't draft you.
He's not going to have a choice, because Rodgers ain't going to play. Rodgers ain't coming to that. He ain't coming to William Penn Highway or whatever the hell it's called, Art Rooney Boulevard, and them sit there and tell him this is the playbook we're running. Rodgers is going to sit there with his head down and not even hear a word they say. He ain't doing that. And I wouldn't do that. If I was a 41-year-old, 4-time All-Pro, MVP, all that shit, first ballot Hall of Famer, and you want to bring me in, you better let me run my game. You just give me the weapons, let me run my game, because I can get it done. That's what Tampa did with Tom Brady down that's what Tampa did with Tom Brady. And if Pittsburgh wants Aaron Rodgers, they're going to have to do the same damn thing. And Tomlin's going to have to sit in the back of the freaking room and shut his mouth, because we've known for 18 years now that he does not pull the right trigger ever. 34-year-old, you got me rolling now. Let me just rant. You got 34-year-old Darian Slay, guys, 34 years old. Okay? Sign him as your coach and cut the guy you hired as a coach. Why would you want to start a guy 34 years old at corner? He played for Philly. They could cover his ass up with that defensive line, with those linebackers who could flow, with the safeties over the top. He's coming to Pittsburgh where they run an arcade defense. How do you think he's going to look there?
I don't know what his money was, number one. But they have no leadership in that defensive backfield. Maybe that's what they signed him for. But, Mark, as you talked about with, Rodgers, what he'll do, this, that, and the third. And you were right when you said what Tampa Bay did with Brady. But let's not forget, you had Leftwich, who after about 4 or 5 games decided to bring in Brady's playbook from New England because he was struggling. Do you think Arthur Smith, Leftwich was young, he was more imaginative. Do you think Arthur Smith is that imaginative where he could change? Because he wanted Fields. The reports are he wanted Fields even last year. He wanted a more running quarterback for his offense.
No,
does he have an offense for Rodgers?
Yes, Chops, listen. I sent you the Fields film. You watched it. You see all the different plays they were running when Fields was in there? Did you see all those plays?
Yes.
Because when it was Russell Wilson, all they did was run the ball twice, then throw the moon ball on third down. That's all we did.
Aaron Rodgers can't run the same playbook that Fields can because he can't. Can Smith switch?
He doesn't have to.
He can do play action. You just play action.
Smith had Ritter in Atlanta. Now, I understand Ritter isn't the guy that everybody thought he was, but he was athletic, but they thought he was going to be a better pocket passer quarterback than he actually was. The offense was terrible under him. Smith got his work and got his bones off of having a great running offense. Now you have great wide receivers. You're talking about bringing in Rodgers, one of the best pure passers to ever do it, if they land him. So we got a guy who's the greatest pure passer, 2 thoroughbreds out there at wide out, and a hell of a tight end in Muth. But you have an OC who is known for being a running quarterback or a running offense. You know what I mean? That's what I'm worried about. How does he switch overnight? That's what I'm worried about.
Hey, let me go back to you talking about Leftwich down in Tampa. Where's Leftwich at now?
Which is, look here, and that's BS, because Leftwich was the one who was smart enough to realize and go back and check. Brady was having issues with AB's offense. Every quarterback their first year or so, whether it was Breeze, whether it was your boy Big Ben, they all have problems with AB's offense.
He realized it. But you know what? Brady started running his own shit that he ran up in New England. You think
because Leftwich brought it in. Leftwich wasn't smart enough to say, let's do this. Why are we having a Hall of Famer learning new offense?
Okay. Right. He saw it. He said, let's do that. But where's Leftwich at today? Who's picked him up as an offensive coordinator? You can't give him all that credit when all he did was recognize that Brady wasn't being successful with BA's offense.
Well, even Brady in an interview, and I'll have to see if I can look it up, let it be known that it was Leftwich's idea. And for that, I'm not going to get into the black-white thing. Well, we've seen black coaches prove themselves but still not get an opportunity. We've seen white coaches continue to lose and still get shipped around. But in all fairness,
I wanted Leftwich to come to Pittsburgh and be their offensive coordinator. Yes. I'll be honest with you. I really did. I wanted him to have a shot.
Rodgers, yes, I think he's become a prima donna and he's been a problem with the last couple of teams and whatever. But to me, he and Marino are the best pure passers to ever do it.
We talked about this earlier, Chops. What teammate has ever said Rodgers is trouble?
Dude, hold on. Listen to me. It doesn't matter what you say. I see what you do. You missed OTAs last year and you blamed it, told Saleh you knew when they didn't know. You then get the coach fired. Then you blame your teammates for not running the right route when you didn't go to red line. When they replayed it, you didn't. You wanted Devontae Adams. You got Devontae Adams, and you still only won 5 games. And I don't know, man. Listen to me. I'm trying not to get ahead of myself because I'm getting excited again because they got DK. I really am. But now that I start thinking about it, okay, Mark, real quick. What do you guys foresee in Smith being able to do with that offense? That's because I think it could be great. Do they even try? What do you what does he do?
Well, the reason I told you about DK and AJ is because AJ had a huge year playing under Smith's offense down in Tennessee. He had go look at his numbers. He had a big year playing under those numbers.
He wasn't DK coming in. I'd have to look what his numbers were. DK is, you know what man. I mean, I'm seriously, fellas, I got to do it. I always get mad that in coming season, I can't wait for opening kickoff.
None of us can.
But I do. That's what I was just worried about, Let me ask you this. Do you guys, I don't want to say blame, but are you sort of ticked off that Fields went to New York?
No.
Or can you totally understand it by the way they did him, not starting him, not even going back to him in the playoffs?
Actually, I agree with Fields for doing that because Tomlin didn't give him any sense of faith that he was going to be used again.
Yeah, but the problem with that for me is who's he going to use in New York? Well, who's he going to throw to?
Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, he's not.
Garrett Wilson. You got Hall coming out the backfield. Listen, fellas. Again, we don't talk about other things, but I think Glenn will be able to use his skill set. I really do think Glenn and the offense court will be able to use his skill set. Real quick, now, Sheen wants another cornerback sign, and you're not happy with Slay.
Well, God, no.
If you sign another corner, are you looking for him to starter at this point or depth? Because I'm assuming we're still seeing Porter's still the starter. Right?
You bringing Dante Jackson back, Chops? Okay.
Hold on. So you're looking to sign another starter.
Another number 1. Yeah. Yeah. Sort of like with Pickens and DK. Pickens went from 1 to 2. Porter can go from 1 to 1.5, 2.
Would you rather see a veteran or a decent corner or a veteran O lineman to help anchor that line and help teach some of these young bucks?
Corner. The line's going to be all right, Chops, man. You keep the line. Listen, they're going to gel. Maybe this year it's going to be another learning, maybe, but they've been gelling, and by next year they'll be ready, man.
Sheen, we say this every year for the last 4 or 5 years. The O-line will be okay. The 4 line.
No, we don't. How we say it last year with one guy?
Sheen, we've been saying
you guys now.
We have been saying this since the Steelers started 11-0 the running game is terrible. No, they'll be okay. They'll be okay. And then they lost to Cleveland in the playoffs when they started like 11-0 and then went on a 1-5 skid or 1-4 skid the last few games.
What year was that, Chops?
What was it? Since your boy was quarterback, Ben, that's what I'm telling you. We've always said the Steelers' O-line and their rushing game has been abysmal last few seasons, quite a few seasons. And we're always having the same, they're going to be okay. They're going to be okay. When do we realize, and they're losing guys or their offense isn't gelling, that Tomlin can't get it right on the O-line?
We didn't, but this time we got 4 new guys.
Okay, you're right. We got 4 new guys, and they're super duper young. What I'd have to look. You guys know better because they're always talking about how many starts an O-line has together. When is an O-line that's had 3 rookies or 3 guys that are there that only have 2 years or less experience? That's what. And you're gonna have a new quarterback. I'm trying to see the bright side of things. But
I was just about to ask you that. You got any positives today, Chops?
Here's the thing. Listen to me. It's seriously, you guys have teenagers. Mark's a teacher. You have students that continue to get C's. You don't believe this student's next semester is going to be an A student because you've seen what he does. We have seen what Tomlin has does year after year after year. We know he shits the bed in Decembers. You're not expecting him to go undefeated this year in December. We see him get to the playoffs and lose first round. We're not expecting.
So let me ask you a question, Chops. Those same kids that we have, and I could say some names, and Barbara would be like, "Oh shit." Those kids, the kids that I thought were going to be like just knuckleheads, these kids have gone on to have productive lives. They have businesses. They selling houses. They selling fishing gear.
Hold on.
So at some point, it's going to get right.
Hold on. And you're absolutely right. Because those people, and those kids you talk about, they are getting older and they're seeing life differently. Regardless of who's been the O coordinator, regardless of who has been his receivers, regardless of who has been his quarterbacks, Tomlin's offense has continued to be the same. That's what I'm worried about.
So is this why you should go ahead and sign Aaron Rodgers, who's going to challenge Tomlin, who's going to sit down in a meeting with Tomlin and challenge him right there and then and say, I'm not running this garbage, honky-tonk bullshit offense that you do with 2 runs and a pass downfield. Rodgers just ain't going to do that. They're going to call a play in, some kind of dumb toss sweep. Rodgers going to say, fake toss, we're going downtown. He ain't going to do that. I don't blame him.
What does that do to the locker room?
I don't really like Rod. Let me just be honest with you. I don't know the guy, but I don't really like the guy.
Yeah, I don't care.
He don't carry himself professionally to me.
If that were to happen, Barbara, now they're battling inside the facility. Does that split the locker room? Because now you got a young O-line who they see the coaches want one thing, but the Hall of Famer wants something else. Is there going to be a power struggle? Or
they're doing that right now because Tomlin's dragging his feet. Khan's dragging it. Well, Khan made a move. He got DK. All right. Because old man Rooney doesn't want to pay to have more coaches. There's just a plethora of things going on in that organization. A whole rack of things going on that they don't take care of before they get to football season. And it shows up in football season. Not at the beginning, but by the end, it rears its ugly head. Just like you said, my man, every freaking year. It's Groundhog Day. And the best thing I heard today, okay, if Tomlin was a coach that somebody wanted to play for, like one of our co-hosts says, no offense to him, but if he was somebody everybody wanted to play for, then why did our guy go to the Jets to play for the Jets for 2 years, $20 million?
Yeah.
2 years, $40 million.
Yeah.
Okay?
I get it.
Ain't that a good point?
Yeah,
I thought that was a really good point.
I said no time. They're not fighting to come to play for Tomlin. But you brought something else up, Barbara, because like what they can do and Rodgers wouldn't sit there. So now you have a proven beast, Pro Bowler in DK. At one time, you can argue one of the top 2-3 receivers in the league. Then you're going to have let's say they get Rodgers. Then you're going to have Rodgers. They've definitely been to other organizations. Been in the playoffs, done some things. Now you got me wanting to see how this plays out because will there be a button and a crash in the heads? Because Pickens has acted the way he acted, but he was young. Whether it was Claypool who acted the way he acted was young. Deontay Johnson, whatever, the wide receiver who left and whatever, he was young, he wasn't doing stuff. But you bring in DK, you bring in Rodgers, and they start butting heads with the coach. Now who do we blame? That'll be interesting. And they've been with other organizations to see how it's done. Ooh, that'll be big.
Here's a great point by Smitty. Do you think DK would have been extended without a plan? Hey, Smitty, let me go one step further, my man. Let me go one step further. Before he agreed to a trade to Pittsburgh, you don't think they had something in the works, that they knew what was coming down the road, how they were going to put this all together, and they told DK what was going on? Because DK had no interest in going to play for a quarterback that's not any good or experienced, and he had no interest in going to a cold weather team, and he had no interest in going to a team that's rebuilding. So all three of those things he clearly said.
True, but as we know, the best played plans never go to where they're written down on paper. And my thing is just that I hate to say that Tomlin is a snake oil salesman, because I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But come on, fellas. There's no way. Mark made a great point. Like you said, Fields didn't come back to play for him. They sent Fields that contract last week. And the offer last week, and he never signed it. And not only did he not sign it, he never even told them, I'm out. He just let the Steelers sit by the phone and wait and realize I'm not playing for you when I decided to go to the Jets. So I don't know.
Just like the Steelers did to him by leaving him on the sidelines after a 4-2 start. Why would you want to play for a coach like that?
Yeah. And I do. I love
coming season, whether it's re-signing Russ, whether it's Aaron Rodgers, no matter who the quarterback is starting first game, it's going to be the sixth starter in 6 years.
Yes. Let me ask you this.
Starter in 6 years.
Let me ask you this. Do you think the Steelers at all will make a play, try to get into the Najee sweepstakes, depending on how much other teams are offering?
Najee?
Yeah.
No, they're going to draft. They got a plan for running back, whether it's Ollie Gordon or whether it's the kid from North Carolina. The thing they traded away was number 56, the 56 draft pick or the 58 draft pick. I don't know how that's going to play out, but DK for that draft pick, I'm okay with. That.
Okay, which brings me to my next two questions. Do you trade either Pickens or Watt at draft day?
Oh, I don't want to get rid of Watt. I ain't gonna lie to you.
We're getting to that question.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about that. We have to talk about that. That's part of that Garrett money thing right there. So Lamar says, "What's up, Double L? If Fields was the quarterback you wanted, there should have been a comprehensive plan day one after the season to include free agent signings and draft picks that they would like to acquire to build around him. Great decision by Fields to get out of Pittsburgh. 100%. 100%. And Smitty follows that up with this, or he came out with this. The $1 million question is, do we trust the plan that the Steelers are coming up with?
That's what I'm saying, Smitty. That's what I'm saying.
And then Smitty's saying exactly what we said. We said $20 million a year for Justin Fields is way too much. I don't care.
That was actually 30, wasn't it?
It's $30 million guaranteed. It's 20. It works out to be $20 million a year.
Here's the thing, though. We're seeing a lot of quarterbacks get paid too much. Darnold is going to get a boatload of money.
He did get a boatload. He got 3 years, $110 million from Seattle.
Okay, and so if they can get some wins, and I do believe they'll use Fields properly, but that's neither here nor there. But fellas, my thing is, when we again are talking about the plan and what goes forward, Sheen asked, do they trade Pickens or Watt? I wouldn't want to trade Watt, but hell, you lost with him. You know what I mean? The defense didn't look great with him, but are you even up? Do you want to consider trading Pickens draft day?
Let's stick with the Pickens thing right now.
Okay.
If you can go out and get one of these guys that's still a free agent sitting out there, a Darius Slayton, a guy like that, that's a proven number two. Yeah. If you can get a guy like that and give him to a 2 or 3 year deal, because he's going to be later in his 20s, 29, somewhere like that, 28, 29, then you can consider trading Pickens. Then you can consider it. Otherwise, you have to let Pickens at least play out this year and go to free agency, I guess. Or if like I read today, if they start going sideways, then you could trade him before the deadline next year. But you cannot move him because the problem was he had nobody on the other side of him. Well, if we move him, who the hell's on the other side of DK?
Yeah. Okay, so now DK is your definite number one.
Yeah.
DK is number one.
100%.
I'm interested to see how this goes. Yeah, you're right. He's proven it. He is. I think
you got 1 and 1A because I do believe in that. Personally, I believe in Pickens. I do. Yeah. I think he's an immature young kid. I believe in him. I think Mike Tomlin's style screws him up because he gives him too much leeway. This is where a guy like, and I know this is going to sound crazy. Everybody listening, my boys on here, this is going to sound crazy, but this is where a guy like Antonio Brown needs to show up at camp, show up at Steelers facilities if he's welcome, and have a sit down with this guy and say, look,
he's grown. He's matured. He really has.
He's matured a lot.
Yeah.
He's matured a lot. He needs to sit down with this kid and say, do you want to make bank?
Wait. Who's matured?
Antonio Brown.
No,
Go on YouTube and check him out on some of these shows, man. He says some crazy stuff, but okay.
Hold on. He is, but we got a lot of people telling the truth now that didn't before. And I gotta believe that when they get serious, though, I've seen him get serious and talk. At some point they all ramble, but I do like him. He could be a cautionary tale. Believe it or not, he could be a cautionary tale for a lot of receivers. A lot. Of them.
The guy was unbelievable. He's the last great route runner the Steelers have had.
Yes.
And how long ago did he leave Pittsburgh?
Oh, yeah. But okay, Mark, because barbers keep bringing up different points.
Oh, Dion could also run routes. Deontay, he was a great route runner too.
He was a good route runner. He ran backwards a lot when he caught the ball. He dropped the ball a lot. AB didn't do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
None of that.
Fellas, so overall you're excited. Okay, you're GM. Both you guys put on your GM hats. You have DK's in the building. DK is in the building. What are your next moves? I don't care if it is trading, Pickens, draft it. What are your next moves?
My next move is to make sure that I get a quarterback that's going to keep everybody happy.
And that's Aaron Rodgers.
That's my next move. It has to be my next move. It can't be a consideration. My next move has got to be a guy who's going to divvy that ball up accordingly. Okay, when I used to game plan, now this is a long time ago, fellas. This is a long time ago when I was an offensive coordinator. When I used to game plan, though, if I had thoroughbreds at the high school level that were playing for me, I had designated plays every week. I wanted them to get X amount of touches, X amount of targets, X amount of, whatever. I'm talking about high school kids. If I'm doing that at the high school level, you damn well sure better be able to do that at college and the pro level.
But we haven't seen Tomlin's old coordinators do that.
That's because they've had the noose around their neck with Tomlin telling them, no, we need to run the ball twice and just get the first down.
Okay, so let me ask you this. It's always been the receivers, but we've had receivers disrupt Tomlin's locker room, right? We've had receivers disrupt Tomlin's locker room. Now, you're talking about a guy, Rodgers, who has been, gotten guys fired, called teammates out, missed OTAs, whatever have you. The way he left Green Bay, I'm playing, I'm not playing, whatever have you. Fellas, do you foresee this being positive if the Steelers get Rodgers? You don't foresee it being a headache and clashing the heads between him and Tomlin before the season is out?
Here's my thing about that. He's 41 years old, okay? Does this guy want to go out with his legacy being a complete asshole? Or does this guy want to go out and try and make it work and try and win a playoff game with Pittsburgh and go out on top of his game? Like, he's hanging around for a reason. We don't know what his relationship was with Salah. We don't know what his relationship was with the guy in Green Bay. I go back to what Sheen said. You never hear former players bashing his ass.
Not one. And I just for me, you didn't even lose my spot. But yeah, there hasn't been no one to come out and say, yeah, he did this or he did it. You're going off of what everyone else said. I don't know if he got him fired. I wasn't there. I don't know if P. Diddy touched those women. I wasn't there, so I don't know.
Dog, come on. We saw him when he missed OTAs. We saw him throw Salah under the bus.
No.
You see, OBJ got. You see, they dragged OBJ in that now.
Huh?
Oh man,
OBJ got dragged into that.
Yeah.
But listen, Chops, the thing I was going to say with Rodgers is I'm sure that if they do meet and say before this even takes place, this contract talk, hey, this is what we're going to be doing offensively. I'm not going to be able to do this. I don't want to do that. Okay, I'm cool with this. I'm cool with that. Then you might be able to sign him. If he don't want to do it, he just ain't going to sign.
You don't think all that was done in New York? Do you think he knew the schedule and he still missed OTAs? He knew what the offense was. And he still said who he was.
See, I don't mind him missing OTAs. You know why I don't mind him? Because I know he gonna come with his A game, Chops. I don't care about that.
And he still only won 5 games. It's funny. He only won 5 games, and you say that's his A game. He had who he wanted in his receiver, brought his boys over. Still only won 5 games. That's his A game.
But that doesn't mean because he had his guys where he brought his guys. Garrett, like when I asked y'all who Fields was going to throw to, y'all said Garrett Wilson, and y'all said that with a straight face. Like Garrett Wilson's not that great. He's and who's on the opposite side of him? Like who's the tight end? Like who's on the line? Like
Baker.
But see that's the funny part to me.
You keep saying like, well, everybody we talk about, you say, well, the organization gave them everybody they needed, and then you name one person. Like I need more than one person.
So you're seriously, you're going to sit there with a straight face and say, when he, as in Rodgers, came to the Jets, the saying everywhere was the Jets are a quarterback away. That's why they got rid of Bryce or Wilson, whatever his name was. That's why they got rid of him and wanted Aaron Rodgers, because with that defense, with that offense, they were one position away, a quarterback away from doing damage. They got that quarterback. Forget his first year. He blew his knee. He was at his Achilles. His second year, they had high hopes for the Jets. He brought in Lazard. He brought in Deontay. He had got nice guys. And they still only won 5 games. That's my problem. And I understand nobody's talking about him, but we realize he has – let's just see. I'm interested to see how this goes in the locker room, because we know Tomlin's players, if given enough leeway, will be – prima donnas and be idiots and can be locked in.
But the thing about Rodgers being a prima donna or an asshole is he has the right to. He's like prime time. He's done it. Like he's done what he's done it. Like Pickens, you can't tell me nothing because you haven't done shit. Like
let me ask you something. How many Super Bowl rings does Aaron Rodgers have?
One.
Beat the Steelers, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes. How many has he been to?
2.
Who did he lose to?
More than everybody on our team.
Who did he lose to? I thought he only been to 1. Or did he lose? But here's the thing.
Keep going. But what I'm saying, he's got MVPs. You know, listen. All right.
Mark.
We're spending a lot of time on Aaron Rodgers, fellas.
That's the position everybody's talking about they need. Who else are you looking for in free agency? Your GM.
There's not another guy in free agency besides Rodgers. You got what, Russell? Go ahead, Sheen.
Aaron Rodgers won Super Bowl and he won.
Okay. There's not another guy and he won that with Holmgren.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not another guy in free agency that the Steelers could. Hey, let me go here. Let me go here with this. There was not a quarterback in free agency, if I was a GM, that I would be hanging my hat on as a long-term solution. That includes Justin Fields.
No.
There was not one guy. I did not like Sam Darnold. When I saw him start seeing ghosts in the secondary as the season started winding down, when it meant the most, that ain't my guy. You want him in Seattle? You go ahead. You better have a quarterback whisperer out there.
Whoever we bring in is a bridge quarterback.
Exactly. Now, Lamar did say that maybe you should, trade somebody, acquire some picks, and dump all your picks, and next year move way up and get one of those really good guys. I'm not putting my hat on Arch Manning either. I got to watch the kid play next year. Everybody's Arch Manning. And I started feeding into it. And then I got thinking to myself that everybody was all Quinn Ewers, right? That's all we heard. And where was he? Where is he? He's going to be drafted. He's going to be a late round pick probably. But is he going to pan out? This is not a good quarterback class, guys. if one or two guys out of this quarterback class makes it and is productive, then you've done good.
You struck it. Let me ask you this: in free agency, would you rather trade, or would you rather bring in like a DK? It doesn't have to be whatever position, doesn't have to be DK's level. Or would you be happier with a proven veteran, whether it's on the O-line, whether it's a corner, or would you be happy if the Steelers could move up and get one of the top-rated cornerbacks in this draft, whatever? How would you like to run it?
I'm not trading out of that spot. In fact, guess what? If I can't get the guy I want in that spot, and I know that early, I'll trade back and I'll acquire my second-round pick back. That's what I'll do.
Are you still looking at a D tackle at that 21 spot?
I don't know who they're going to sign in free agency. There's some decent free tackles in free agency out there.
If we could get one of the D tackles, that helps us. We need a D tackle veteran. We can't hang our hat on the defensive tackle from Toledo. We can't do that.
Gene,
can't do it.
Right now, they cut Ogunjobi, and they must have a plan to bring somebody in. That's all I can say. That has to be exactly why they did that, because they would not cut loose that dude. They saved $7 million right there, cutting him loose. Okay? They know that the guys behind him are not going to get it done. They know that. They know Cam is old. All right?
Yeah.
They're still going to do the D lineman. This is just going to dictate where they're going to draft the D lineman at, whether it's going to be the first pick that they have in the draft or whether it's going to be the third pick they have in the draft. This is a deep draft in running backs. It's a deep draft in D linemen.
Yeah, it is in D linemen, definitely. In both, really.
So you really got to be specific about your needs in free agency and bring in guys that are going to offer you youth and bring in talent and pay them to play.
So my thing with the trade and Watt is this. If we go to Watt and say, this is what we're going to give you, and he says no, then he plays it out and moves on. Right now, if we trade him, he's gone. We don't got to pay him nothing. That's true. That's true.
You mean trade him and get some capital. Okay.
That's what I'm thinking.
Mark, we know if you get a D tackle, you're looking for somebody that can clog up the middle, but also get a nice pass rush up the middle. We know that.
Yeah.
If you're looking at a running back, do you run a running back that you know is going to be part of a running back by committee? Or would you like to get a running back that he might be our starter and still have Warren is our third down back or whatever have you? Or are you looking for a back that coming into it just to be known, this is going to be running back by committee?
I want a complimentary back that I can run as running back by committee. I want to be able to rotate three backs through there. I really do. Successful teams rotate three backs through there. Unquestionably, the Ravens are the only team that really has a bell cow back, to be quite honest with you, in Philadelphia. I'm sorry, in Philadelphia. Yeah. Okay. Even the Skins this year, they had Eckler, they have Brian Robinson, and they had another guy. Escapes my name. His name escapes my head right now. But they had three guys that they rotated through there. The NFL is a passing league, fellas. You know that, and I know that. Whether it's 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers or whether it's 29-year-old, Josh Allen, or however old Josh Allen is, it's a passing league, and your running backs are not counted on to do what they did back in the 70s and 80s, maybe even the early 90s. That's just not the way football is today. And the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers doesn't see it that way. Neither does the organization. That's not only his fault. That's the organization.
We got breaking. Dante Jackson's gone to the Chargers. Thank God.
Wow. Okay. Now let me ask you this.
We signed Ryan McCollum back.
Okay. All right, let me ask you this.
And I'll take that. He was a third-string center who came in and played one or two games, and he did a nice job.
Do you want a back? You're going running back by committee, but do you want a back that is built like Eckler or Warren, or do you want that back that when it's 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, this is definitely who's coming in?
I want Ollie Gordon.
That's
what I want. I want Ollie Gordon from Oklahoma State, because he has a plethora of skills. He not only is a big kid at 6'2", 230 pounds or whatever he is, but he runs downhill. He can put his feet in the dirt and get upfield. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's a solid blocker because that's a passing league as well, playing in the Big 12. So that's my target.
And we can get him in the 4th round.
Yeah, that's my target. I agree. Sheena and I both looked at that kid when we did our 1.0 mock draft. That kid is legit. I really like that kid. I want to see him be brought in. That's who I want to see brought in.
Okay. Do you, regardless of who it is, your GM, do you want to have your quarterback signed within the next 24 hours?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
well, hold on.
The rest of the season for me.
Okay.
I mean, free agency and draft.
Do you think they will? Do you think they'll have it signed within the next 24 hours? Because they can't slow foot. They cannot slow foot on this QB.
I agree with you, Chops.
Smitty, I'm not. He's hard. He's a hard runner. Scatterboo. He was talking about Smitty.
Yeah.
Scatterboo. I look at Scatterboo though as like a Tommy Vardell, touchdown Tommy, who is, it's 3rd and 2, he'll get you 2. It's 2nd and 7, he'll get you 2. You know what I mean? I don't. I
got to watch more tape on him, to be honest with you. He plays out there in the Pac-10 or whatever it was called, and I got to watch more tape on him. We got a highlight film on him playing in the bowl game. That's what we saw. But I need to watch more tape. I need to see how he plays against teams that play defense.
Yeah,
that's what I need to see.
Yeah, and also not startled me, but made me, eyebrows raised when he was starting to get sick and his gas tank came into play when he had to play the whole game because he wasn't playing the whole game because they were up and they were killing everybody. So,
and maybe that's a guy you bring in as a fullback.
Yeah,
maybe the guy you bring in is a really stud fullback, somebody who you can count on to run the ball, to block, I mean, he brings in a plethora of tools. And I don't just look at, okay, it's a white guy, let's bring him in as a fullback. But his build to me is more of a fullback build.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, real quick. Now that you have, as of right now, we're going right now. Forget right now. You have DK on one side. You have Pickens on the other side. And I still like Muth. I do. I still like Muth as a tight end.
Absolutely, 100%.
Now, Barbara, you had mentioned that Brown had a nice year under Smith in that offense. Are you happy with the playbook we have now? Or do you think Smith is in the lab drawing up new plays? Can he change?
I'll tell you what, Chops. I think Smith came in with a playbook this thick.
And
Tomlin took it down to this thick.
I don't think we've seen it all.
I really do. I really do. When we started watching Fields run the ball when he first came in as quarterback, we saw him doing some boot stuff. We saw him doing some things, throwing it down the middle. When Russ first came out and was playing, the playbook was still a playbook. And then all of a sudden, Tomlin does what he always does. He plays not to lose instead of playing to win.
Yes, he does play not to lose.
The
fact he's so close to the
go
best.
over and round on this. I don't care who's a Tomlin supporter and who isn't. Good for you, and I'm glad you still support the guy. I'm not saying he's a bad human being. I'm not saying that he wasn't a good coach at some point. I'm saying the game has passed him by the last 5 or 6 years to the point that the guys, he's still running the same defense. He's still running the same offense. His hands are in way, way too much of what's going on with this team on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. Be the damn head coach. Manage your team. That's your job. Quit giving guys a break. Let your coaches coach. Let your players play. And you look over everything. That's what I think should happen with him. He can't do that because they gave him so much power so long ago. Then now you can't give a guy a bunch of power and all of a sudden be like, hey, I got to reel some of that back. No, the only way that goes away is by you firing him.
Yeah.
And that ain't happening.
What does he have? This year, one more year left on his extension, or what's he have? Tomlin.
He signed last summer. I think he has 3 years. 20. Oh, wait. Next year's 26. I think after the 26th season, he's done. Yeah.
2.
I mean, fellas, when they said DK, you know me, there's always somebody attached. There was Godwin attached. There was other names. There's always names attached to Pittsburgh. Yeah. But now let me ask you guys this. we don't want to get into it. Who's got the power? I don't know. But this is called second free agency, right? Last year was his first, and now this year. I understand it didn't work out with the offense. Well, I know I was excited when they brought in both Fields and Russ. Then they brought in Patrick Queen. So I was excited about what Cohen did in that free agency. So far, he jumped on DK, doing something in free agency, whatever have you. So, again, I'm asking, in the previous 16 years of this Tomlin's 18th year, we had never seen like this. Fellas, if you think about it, he traded for on offense. Bettis is the only guy Tomlin has brought in. Tomlin didn't bring in
Bettis. Cowher brought in Bettis.
There you go. So what splash name player, because DK is a splash name, what splash player on offense has Tomlin ever brought in? So that's why I'm saying, is this Cohen? Who do you give this? I say Cohen is doing this more than Tomlin. I'm liking it. But then once it's on the field, if Tomlin has sovereign power, I don't know, fellas. I don't know. That's what I want to get excited because fellas, again, I said it last year and it just didn't pan out because I don't think it was used properly. I thought the Steelers had the best quarterback room because you had two starters. I really thought they did. Now, wideout wise, you have two true number ones. Yeah. With DK, I think DK and Pickens could be, whether you're going Jefferson and Addison, whether you're going Chase and Higgins, I think they line up one for ones against anybody. I really do. The top two receivers, but can they be used properly? That's the only thing why I'm afraid to scream from the mountaintop, and because I've done it for so many years, and then the Steelers don't produce. But I'm trying to hold it back because I do like DK. I like it. But if you have somebody throwing the ball, and then it'd be different if you had – remember old Brian Billick?
Well, you can't fight Rodgers coming for like a one-year deal. You can't fight it.
You're right. But, Barbara, take it back. Remember Billick, Brian Billick, when he was with the Ravens. Even when he was with Minnesota, he liked to air it out. So if you had an OC like that, I would have liked it better. Well, you always wanted to air it out. You didn't have the receivers. You wanted to air it out, but you didn't have the quarterback. Now you have the receivers and a tight end, so you can air it out. But that quarterback's got to get – it's got to –
And guess who's going to air it out? Of all the picks we got here, Wilson, Cousins, Winston, Rodgers, Jones, or a draft pick. Who's going to air it out?
It depends now. I don't know where the Steelers are with draft and cap space money compared to some of these other teams that need a quarterback. How do
They're now back at $50 million. They had dropped down to I think they dropped down to $49 million. Now they're back to like 50-some million dollars.
Ogunjobi got let go. So we good.
$7 million.
Yeah. You don't need to worry about that. Con got the money part. We ain't worried about the money part. We worried about action and getting the right players.
So you'd still like a decent third receiver option in case one of the receivers go down, and you definitely want a cornerback.
How about this?
Like he said, if they sign Slayton, then that's the sign Pickens is gone.
That or the fact that if you bring Slayton in and you sign him to a couple-year deal, you can still keep Pickens around for next year, then let him walk. Don't forget, you have a guy sitting on your bench that didn't get one rep in a game in Roman Wilson. It's like having a draft pick that, him and Fatanu, they're going to be brand new to the game when they come in next year. A whole year of practice, a whole year of understanding. New to the game, though, hitting the field, they'll get a lot of preseason reps, and you're going to be in great shape from that perspective. Imagine if Roman Wilson is playing in the slot and does what he's projected to do.
But that's like you said, Barbara. He didn't get one snap. Did he not know the playbook? Was he in Tomlin's doghouse? He didn't think that's what I don't understand. Was he not what they thought on the field? Because I can't believe that he wasn't good enough to get on the field at some point. So I'm interested to see what they do with Wilson. But I liked him coming out of Michigan. He's hard-nosed. I thought he'd be great in the slot. With that OC, that's all I'm worried about, that OC, because you have guys you can air it out now. And the Steelers are going to get looked at a lot of cover too, because you can't risk man-to-man with them because you got two nice receivers and a tight end. If you can get your back out of the backfield, that offense.
You know what that means if you're running cover two on the Steelers? You know what that means? That means that your tight end is going to be open right down the middle of the field.
Yes, all day, every day. Fella.
And if it's not him, it's the slot guy.
Who can throw it down the middle?
He can't. You're absolutely right. He can. I don't know, fellas. I'm gonna take his ego and his bullshit for his play. But here's my thing.
We did it with Brown.
We'll see. And maybe this is the year
why can't we do it with Rodgers?
And maybe this is the year where Tomlin's like, okay, because they were supposed to have put in place for him in the playoffs. We knew your boy Smith wanted Fields, but the fact we never saw Fields in that 4 or 5 game slide and we never saw him in the playoffs, I don't know. Is Tomlin so, I don't want to say stubborn, thick-headed, but he didn't even feel, I don't know, man. So if he takes that same stubbornness or whatever with Rodgers is who he is. I'm Hall of Fame. I don't know, man. I'm just.
Mikey, we can wrap this up real quick right here. Tomlin still lives in his fears. He plays not to lose. Okay? His standard, the standard is the standard saying, is him playing not to lose, to do the same thing over and over again. He's almost insane, because the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again that you fell at, thinking it's going to be a winning formula. Okay? That's the bottom line. I'm not making this up. If Tomlin were on here right now, I promise you, I would say the same thing to him. I would say the same thing to him.
And then he hit you.
Go ahead.
Then he'd hit you with a little riddle, and then he'd throw you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. He'd hit you with a soundbite. Exactly. Let me ask you guys this.
Don't fit, don't pick up shit.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys this. Seeing what Khan did last free agency, seeing what he's already started to do now, are you, even if he brings any other players, because Khan can do what he does in bringing in free agents, but when he is in, Tomlin has final say, and you don't see the Roman Wilsons at all get any reps, when you don't see any of your boy Fields, at all, even during the slide, do you not say worry, but does that creep into the back of your mind that regardless of who Khan brings in, Tomlin says what goes on the field and we're going to see? Or do you think he's like, okay, you gave me this, so I am now going to go greatest show on turf, and I'm going to open it up and air it out. Not going to be the Kelly gun.
Whether we think that or not, that's a conversation with Khan. That's a conversation with Tomlin. That's a conversation with the OC. That's a conversation with who's the other, Andy Weddle. That, this conversation needs to happen in a boardroom with those guys there. And they need to look at him and say, we're giving you the pieces to change the puzzle. Change the puzzle, because what you're doing isn't working, Mike. You watch the film every week. It doesn't work. Give me all the cliches you want. Tell me you're going to go back to the drawing board. Tell me you weren't good enough, like you always tell me. All that bullshit. It's the same thing. Until somebody sits down at a table, looks him square in the face, and says, I don't care if you've been here 18 years or not. It doesn't matter to me. Being a coach in professional football is about winning championships, not having a winning record in the regular season. We want championships here. We're bringing you in players to win championships. Get it done. Until that happens.
Okay. Barbara, one of your biggest problems was how expensive it was on the defensive side of the ball, right? How much he spent,
$150 million.
How much he was spending on the defensive side of the ball, and it showed the lack on offense. Are you hoping he does something, whether it's in trades, whatever it may be, to do where he can now, not saying it's going to be level, but see some more? Do you hope he gets it? He isn't Tomlin gets it. I need more offensive weapons, fellas. Do you think he gets it, or do you think he still comes in over-exaggerated with the defensive heavy money on that side of the ball?
I told you this. He is a 1988 style coach. He believes that defense and running the ball wins championships. The game has passed him by. I watched this happen with Chuck Noll. I didn't see this happen with Cowher. Cowher stepped away pretty much. I know he had a few losing seasons, but Cowher was still on point when he stepped away. The game has passed Mike Tomlin by. When you hear guys like Ryan Clark, who absolutely adore Mike Tomlin, say that, you got to believe it.
Man. All right, fellas. I mean,
fellas, hey, let me close this out. It's already an hour later. We didn't even talk about TJ Watt and Garrett. So we'll throw that on the OSP. Hey, thanks everybody who jumped on here. We had quite a few people jump on. Maybe we should do an earlier slot when we do the show. We had several people come on and watch and chime in, and we really, really appreciate that. Hey, follow us on Facebook. Jump on our group, Original Sports Podcast. We are trying to grow that group in leaps and bounds. Thanks to everybody who put a review out on our show. We had over 70-some reviews written on us last week, so we're doing a nice job. Thanks to a lot of different people as well who have been sponsoring the show and sponsoring segments. Belisario's, Scotty's Vodka, definitely Scotty's Vodka, who really hooked us up big time. Rockwell Brewery. Wow. Now that I think about it, we got two things for alcohol. I guess sports and alcohol go together.
Dealing with our Steelers, we need them.
Hey, you can 100%, Mikey. You can find us all on social media. We'll be back tomorrow night at 7 o'clock for the OSP. We have Dan Morgan Jr. coming on to join us. We're going to talk Pittsburgh Pirate baseball for the last time before this season starts. I'm kind of excited. They're the only team that's exciting me now.
That's right.
In Pittsburgh. Right. So I'm excited to do that. And we are going to circle back on Thursday after free agency signings have occurred and give you another episode this week of Terrible Talk. Watch for our post about what time will be on Thursday. I'm not exactly sure yet when that time slot is going to be, but we'd love to have you join us again. Please share the word about us. Thanks. We love everybody for joining us, and have a great rest of your day. Go Steelers.
Steelers.
Excellent show, fellas.
This podcast is part of the Frederick Podcast Network. Learn more at listenfrederick.com.